Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM. And AM 630.
WMAL. 6:37 on the Morning Majority. Brian Wilson's here. Mary Catherine Ham is here. Brian Neiman still off and running with the kids, riding roller coasters, hanging out at the beach, having a great time. Maybe getting harassed by the TSA when he comes back.
Yeah, and I know we'll have a great story. On Monday, there will be some great story about his travels.
Many great stories, I'm sure. Right now, we've got Lanny Davis on the line. Good morning, Lanny. It feels like forever since I've talked to you.
Well, I think they wanted you off the set because you're too tough.
Oh, I see.
Thursdays, they shipped you out.
I was shipped out last week in Arizona. All right, well, let me ask you about this, about these comments from Secretary Chu about energy. So you've got the American people largely in polling support the Keystone Pipeline. President says no. Bill Clinton comes out and says, we should really probably embrace this Keystone Pipeline. And then Secretary Chu follows up with we're not really worried about gas prices. We're worried about getting you off of oil. Is this something that the president is going to have to deal with? That seems like such a politically devastating combination of things to me, with prices going up.
Well, first of all, I don't understand Secretary Chu's statement because the shale, oil from the shale is going to be used in, the CO2 is going to be in the atmosphere whether we build a pipeline or not. So right. I don't understand his logic. I probably think he didn't mean it, or else he may have...
Well, hold on. Lanny,
he may have had a bad day.
The question we was asked is the overall goal to get the price of gasoline down? And his answer was, and this is a direct quote, no, the overall goal is to decrease our dependence on oil to build and strengthen our economy, end quote.
Well, again, there's nothing factual about that statement. It's an ideological statement. The facts are that the same quantity of CO2 will be in the atmosphere whether we build that pipeline or not. That is a fact. Now, if any environmentalist wants to call in listening to disagree with that fact, then I'd like to know what he thinks or she thinks that oil shale is going to do. Maybe they're going to eat it in Canada. This is a pipeline that can create jobs, can keep at least the energy production in America. Of course, we should look for alternative to CO2s. Of course, there's global warming dangers. People who don't want to address those facts are just as ideological as people who don't want to address the fact that we need this pipeline. That's why President Clinton, who is an environmentalist, is driven by facts. So I can't agree respectfully with Secretary Chu.
But it's a horrible thing for the secretary to be saying from their perspective at a time when Americans are struggling to to fill their tanks up every time they go to the gas pumps. 60, 70, 80 bucks.
Get carried away here, Brian. The fact is that pipeline's not going to have anything to do with the. Let me ask you a question.
But hold on a minute. Hold it.
Today, would energy prices be affected at all?
Wait, but Chu's statement isn't about the pipeline. It's about
whether or not you're trying to.
Brian just said it's a terrible time with energy prices going up, and I asked if that pipeline existed today, would energy prices go down at all?
Well, let me just say this. Set the pipeline aside for a second, because that's not what this is about.
He's not talking about the pipeline.
We're talking about the price of a gasoline today, and the stated policy of our Secretary of Energy is he doesn't care whether it comes down or not, because that's not their goal.
He said he wants to get us off oil and get us off CO2.
The overall...
And I happen to agree that there ought to be a pipeline, but Brian, to tie that with the price of oil, I didn't blame George Bush when the price of oil went up. I didn't blame Barack Obama. This is about a world, crisis over what might happen in the Gulf of Hormuz and the Iranian crisis and a lot of other speculating that goes on with an oil cartel that is about raising oil prices, whether we have a pipeline or not. I just don't think you should connect the two, Brian.
But when he's asked the question, is the overall goal to get the price of gasoline down, and his answer is no, that's a political problem, isn't it?
Well, it is a political problem. It's an insensitive answer, and I have no idea what the Secretary has had for breakfast. He may have had a bad breakfast.
He's a Nobel Prize winner. He's a smart guy.
But look, there is an energy environmentalist view. In the long run, I happen to agree with this, that until the price of carbon fuels goes up and we have a way of investing in alternative fuels, we're not going to do anything about global warming and CO2 in our atmosphere. But that isn't really, I agree with you, it's politically insensitive right now to talk about we should have the price of energy go up.
Well, the president seems to be finding plenty of our money to invest in other energy, but that's beside the point. Let's talk about the state of the race at the moment.
Okay.
Mitt Romney takes Michigan by a hair, Arizona by quite a lot. Is it all over but the shouting, do you think, or is there plenty of time for people to rise in Super Tuesday?
No, there is no time for anybody else to run. The fantasy that
I don't mean outside of the race.
Mean
I just mean the other
Romney
guys.
versus Santorum,
right?
And Gingrich, yes. I think that they've shot each other so many times that the last one standing with more money is probably Mitt Romney. I'm happy about that. I think he's a very, very poor candidate. He's really shown himself to have a tin ear. And he needs to say prayers for Seamus, the dog that I hope went to heaven.
Again.
It's not funny. I'm still angry about that.
Okay.
Fair enough.
We'll give you that one. But so you think it's Romney?
I think it's Romney, and I hope, I truly hope, that he can stay high on the high road and debate the president on serious issues. I think the biggest weakness the president has, the economy looks like it's bouncing back, but he still hasn't answered the question. I have a 13-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I have grandchildren, believe it or not, and my children and grandchildren are paying for a debt that Barack Obama has not done anything about, has not led about, hasn't embraced Simpson Bowles, has a very interesting New York Times article how he met with Erskine Bowles, a really great man, a friend from the Clinton White House, and still hasn't endorsed that document that was endorsed by his own liberal senator from the state of Illinois, Dick Durbin. So to me, there's a great debate that can occur here. I'm supporting Barack Obama, but I still, every chance I can, remind him about our children and our grandchildren looking at what is going on. A $16 trillion debt. We're going to have a debt that's greater than our gross domestic product, and we're going to be looking at a bankrupt America. And I don't see Barack Obama leading on that issue. I see him leading on the economy, and I see him leading on job creation, and I see Mitt Romney talking about not saving Detroit while bailing out banks. That's going to be a problem for Romney, but on the national debt, I still see President Obama very vulnerable.
All right. Listen, Lanny, always appreciate having you on for your unique perspective.